Okay, camera rolling.
Yeah.
We have a camera?
Sound speeding.
Clack.
Okay, so this is No Nerds Allowed, episode 22, scene 1, take 1, Mark.
Mark, get over here.
What is happening?
Okay, action. Hello, my name is Jackson McMurray.
My name is Adeline McMurray.
I'm Tabi Bardall.
And this is No Nerds Allowed.
Yay!
And there are no nerds allowed.
This is No
You
Nerds
guys are
Allowed.
so cute.
I am way
The show
too
where
close
we
to my
don't
microphone.
tell our guests about what bit we're about to do before we just start doing them.
No, we just hit that record button, baby. They don't even know they're going to be on the podcast. We just walk into their house and slam a microphone down on the table.
Have you seen Power Rangers recently? Okay, great, let's go.
Great, thank
Great.
God.
Awesome.
The crux of this podcast relies on you having seen this movie.
Joke's on you. I watch the Power Rangers movie every night of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It puts me to sleep every
For
night.
personal reasons.
Okay, so I just want to say that on day of recording, it is Saturday, July 20th, which is the day that that Marvel Studios has their big Comic-Con panel at 5:15 p.m. And it's the
Ooh.
only thing I've been able to think about all weekend.
Not Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Okay, I briefly
mean
thought about
you
Power
don't
Rangers
think-
while I was watching the movie.
I'm always thinking about Power Rangers.
You're just like watching the movie and you're like, wow, Marvel.
I wish I was watching a
Wow.
Marvel movie right
Oh
now.
my God.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to do Captain Marvel 2, or do you think they're going to replace it with something else? Maybe she'll just be in a different movie instead of having her own sequel.
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
they're going to put the Black Widow movie in the toilet? Do you think?
They're already filming it.
Oops.
They are?
Oops.
Yeah, it's
oopsie.
got
Whoa.
Florence Pugh and the guy from Stranger Things whose name I don't remember.
There
Who
are
else-
several
Finn
guys.
Wolf-
Who also played Hellboy. He's the grizzly cop with the mustache.
Finn Wolfhard.
David Harbour is his name. He's gonna be in it.
11.
Yeah.
That's his name.
That's her name. 11.
Yeah, that's right. 11 from Stranger Things is gonna be in it. It's a crossover special.
So I'm gonna part the kimono a little bit. So behind the scenes stuff on my end. I'm not at my usual house. I'm at my dad's house because my dad. Long story
Ooh.
short, my dad had to move for work, so we have to move places, which is fine. But there's no
Cool.
furniture in this whole house, so I'm on my bed. My computer is on my bed, and my microphone is on my bed, and I'm like doing that weird like on my knees, hunch over on the bed. And
Like you're doing a balancing act.
yeah, and I'm in constant danger of my microphone falling over. So
Wait, what, you have your own bed there?
yeah.
That rules.
Yeah, you don't
You
have
get
a
to
bed.
You
two
sleep in a
beds.
bed? I wish I slept in a bed.
I just have a big rock. I was like, hey dad, can I have anything except for this big rock? And he just looked me dead in the eyes and closed the door, and I haven't seen or spoken to him in days.
I have some behind the scenes things. So I just got done with a yard sale. I sold all of my childhood memories.
Woohoo!
In the blistering heat. It was so hot. It's like 100 degrees outside.
Eeh.
And
Yikes.
I was so tired, and so I took a 3-second cold ass shower,
Nice.
and it did not help, and I'm just cold now.
And now I'm wet, and nothing has changed.
Okay, you know what I've been doing shower-wise lately? I'm sure everybody wants to know.
Yeah, talk about your
I'm-
shower business.
I've switched over, instead of taking like a hot shower where I just hang out and think about how good it feels to be in a hot shower for like half an
Yeah.
hour and waste most of my day, I've started doing a like not a cold shower but like a cool shower, like pool temperature water shower.
Yeah.
Ew.
And that's the best. Cuz
Ew.
it's not like unpleasant, but you just get in there and you do your stuff and you get out, and it feels good when you get out.
Yeah.
There you go. That's kind of smart.
I'm always
And I only
like,
spend about 5 minutes in the shower instead of about 45.
during the summer, I'm like, cool showers. Great idea, because I'm really hot. I don't want to get more hot. I get it. Great.
Yeah.
You do you. But then it is winter, and then they're like, oh, cold showers are so good for you. And I'm just like, F no. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
I haven't
Oh,
tried out my
what?
cool showers doctrine in the wintertime yet. We'll see how that holds up.
Wait, are we allowed to say swears on this podcast?
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
you can swear your
Okay.
ass off.
I said
Okay.
pussy demons already, so...
Oh
Pussy
Oh
is
wait,
not
that
a
wasn't in the show
swear.
though. That was in the warm-up.
Pussing is a blessing. It is not a swear.
yeah, that's
Did you
true.
say pussing is a blessing?
Yeah, you know, just like on the weekends, like to go out, like
called
just, you know,
pussing.
go out pussing.
Is that what Cats 2019 is about?
Oh no!
Oh my god.
We can't spend too long talking about it because we already talked about it
Yeah,
in the
we
last
did already
episode.
talk about it, but like, look at it. Look what they did.
Oh.
I saw a tweet that I thought really encapsulated it, which was like, it's the equivalent of like listening to somebody you don't really know that well talk about a sex dream they had, in the sense that it's simultaneously very boring and very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
God, just why aren't they like regular sized? Yeah. Why are they so small?
Why are they weird
they're
little
cats.
tiny people? Why do they have human noses?
Oh.
Why do they kind of have boobs, but they don't want to like commit to them having boobs?
Well, okay, they've just got human forms.
Yeah.
They weren't like, let's give them tits. They hired an actor who
Yeah,
had
I know,
breasts.
but like,
okay.
it's weird. It's weird.
It's weird. That's not natural.
It's weird.
Well, okay, let's be real though. Cats was just an affront to God in the first
I mean,
place
yeah,
anyway.
but why would you continue to be an affront to God? Why wouldn't you fix it? You had the power. You had the
You
opportunity.
had the opportunity.
You were the
did.
chosen one, and you failed.
You
Remember at
fucked
the
it
very
up.
end of remember at the very end of Power Rangers when the credits started and I Got the Power started playing?
Yeah.
You mean the best part of the whole film?
Remember when they thought they were gonna get a sequel?
God, I'm so mad about
Oh,
that. Okay.
Wait. So yeah, what Anna mentioned this very briefly to me. What is happening?
So, at the end of this movie, this is us sort of like getting into our discussion. We're talking about Power Rangers this episode.
Yeah.
You probably know that because you clicked on the
Surprise.
episode. But so clearly at the end of this movie, they're like teasing a future sequel.
Oh, Green
Which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
always
yeah.
kind of up in the air because it was like a smaller production in terms of like blockbuster movies. But there's been no word on it until recently when they announced that they're not going to do a sequel, but they are going to make another Power Rangers movie that's just a different one.
That's
They're
right.
just gonna like redo it.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like what they're
And,
doing
look,
with
I'm
Suicide
gonna be
Squad.
honest.
Dumb.
I don't believe it's really gonna happen. I don't think there's gonna be another Power Rangers movie anytime soon.
Oh
It
my
just seems
gosh.
like the kind of thing that a studio would say that they're gonna do and then just never does.
Yeah, like, yeah, we'll do a Power Rangers movie, and then they just never text you
Yeah,
back.
they just never do it. Yeah, exactly.
They left us on red.
Yeah. I don't know who
Oh,
that
it makes
is.
me so
Who's Power
sad.
Rangers?
Yeah, I mean,
Who's
it
she?
would probably not be exactly the same as the first movie, though.
No.
And I feel
Do
like
Do you think
I've
that
made my-
it would have been like worse or better?
I don't know. Either would be bad. I don't want it to be worse or better.
Yeah.
I just want more of exactly
I just
this.
want this movie again.
And it couldn't ever be
Oh my
that.
God.
So really, maybe at
Okay.
the end of the day, it's a blessing.
Seeing this movie in theaters was such an experience. I don't think I'll ever forget that night where you, me, and Ethan just like went to the movie theaters and saw Power
Yeah.
Rangers around other
Oh,
people who all
Okay,
paid to see this.
You guys are gonna be so proud of me. I came up with a new word that
good.
helps describe
Is it pussing?
Power Rangers because like the thing is it's such like it's so weird, like it's such an experience
Yeah,
as far
uh-huh.
as film goes, right?
Right.
So I came up with a new word. Are you ready?
Yes.
Synigma.
Oh.
It's
sounds-
cinema and enigma.
and sin.
It sounds too much like smegma for me to be comfortable with.
No, that's what's great about it.
yeah,
Come on.
it was cinemanigma, but
take everything back. That one is so much better.
Hey, what do you call it when a gingerbread man gets some crust on his dick?
Oh my god. I only feel comfortable to talk about smegma because I will never have to deal with it in my entire life.
Oh no.
Rip penis havers.
Oh. Oh,
Not like
okay.
rip, but like rest in peace, you know?
Yeah. So let's be clear. I think all three of us are on the same page that we fucking love this movie.
Oh my god.
Oh my god,
And
yes.
it's so. There's something about it because there is like really some genuinely really good things in it.
Yeah.
But it's also just
Yeah.
like balls to the wall, goofy as fuck, while
Yeah.
simultaneously taking itself super
They
seriously.
cannot, they just like can't do it. They can't just like
It's
get
such-
over the like taking yourself seriously hump to be cheesy, but they're also basing it off of Power Rangers, which is probably the
Yeah.
cheesiest thing on the planet, and it's just
Right. It's like you can't not have Power Rangers in the movie for the first for the first hour and 40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And also just do a needle drop of the classic Power Rangers
yeah, you
theme
didn't earn
song.
that.
Oh my god.
Like those
Oh,
two
when they,
ideas
like-
are in complete contrast to each other.
When they like did like the 3-point like land, like the Spider-Man land, like all at the same time.
After doing this,
Just like moments like that.
and then
God.
suddenly all of the fight scenes are super CGI animated and all look terrible, just like out of
Oh
nowhere.
my gosh.
Hold on,
was
I'm messing
really,
with my
like,
microphone really quick, so just ignore the horrible sounds.
Okay.
Man, what are the sounds?
Man.
Shh. Shush.
Shush me.
Don't silence me.
Do not silence her.
When are we gonna do Venom on
We
this
have to get. That's
podcast?
another movie that we just saw with Ethan. We need to get Ethan. No, we saw that with
Yeah.
everybody. Sorry, all of our friends.
We could do Venom with
Yeah.
Ethan.
Oh my god, seeing Venom in
would be
theaters was
fun.
also an experience.
God, I've not seen that film
Oh,
yet.
it's
Oh,
close.
well, what we're referring
It's
to
close.
is there's this great moment right at the beginning where what's his name, Riz Ahmed's character is like this billionaire CEO is like giving this tour of his facility to this elementary school class, and this little girl raises her hand and she's like, excuse me, how does, and the teacher's like, no, it's not time for questions right now, and Riz Ahmed's like, no, don't silence her. It's really great.
Don't silence her.
Oh my god, he's like the liberal villain. It sucks.
It's
Oh no.
Oh my god. Okay, we have to talk about
God,
this
Venom's
bad
so
movie
great.
before we talk
Okay.
about that.
Okay. So let's just make a note that our opening experience in this film is a fully nude and fully blue Bryan
Yeah.
Cranston,
Oh, don't forget.
just like crawling around in the
fully
dirt.
wounded.
Yeah.
But, okay, so is this movie? Okay, right off the bat, the world's kind of ending. Rita's winning. Whatever. Is this movie telling me that the Power Rangers killed the dinosaurs? Is that what they're telling me?
Yeah, I didn't make
not
that
even thought of
connection.
that.
No, because they're like, oh, we've lost. We have to stop Rita. Have the meteorite hit now. And it's like the dinosaur ages. It's like, did you just kill the dinosaurs?
Oh my gosh.
Bryan
Okay, no, yeah. So I have like a whole bunch of notes that I took like while I was watching
Yeah.
it. Is Cenozoic is a real word, right?
I believe so. Let me
Jackson,
double check
you're
on
the
that.
The
dinosaur boy.
Cenozoic era? Because like
I'm checking.
it's enough of a Power Rangers
That
word
it might not be.
that it might not be. But
Okay,
also,
according to
I'm
Wikipedia-
really stupid.
The Cenozoic era, meaning new
Area.
life, is the current and most recent of the three Phanerozoic geological
So
areas.
it's just the one we're in now.
Yeah, I guess so. Hold on.
But wait, were the dinosaurs also in this era? Because when it opens up, it's like Cenozoic
Yeah, like
era,
it's-
and it's all the dinosaurs and the meteorites are coming.
Yeah.
Hold on, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
scrolling through Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Lend me the courtesy of a few seconds of dead air so I can
Just
get a
go
real
to
answer
Yahoo
here.
Just type in real quick, hey, guys, listen.
Real quick. In the movie Power Rangers.
Real quick.
You'll get an answer in like 5 minutes.
Okay, so if I'm gleaning this correctly, it just means everything. They call it the quote-unquote age of mammals, and it spans from between, like, the extinction of the dinosaurs and, like, up until humans evolved, is the Cenozoic era.
Okay,
so
that tracks.
So yeah,
It kind of tracks because it's implying it's like the very end of the dinosaurs, so it's like, sure. It's like if you were like, oh, it's December 31st, 1999, and you were like the 21st century, and it's like, kind of guess.
Oh my gosh, the Power Rangers killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Also, Rita is just like a regular name.
Yeah, no.
And why does she have, like, hair?
No.
Like, why is she
Ranger
the
suit?
only one that looks more human than the others?
I wrote down,
Because we have to look at her, I guess.
there's this really great
Makeup's
line reading that
expensive.
Bryan Cranston gives, where he's speaking some bullshit alien language, and he's like, Zenokatu, Rita. And it's just super funny.
I know. It's just like, I am speaking another language.
Also,
Rita?
Rita Repulsa.
Yeah, man.
Her last name is literally Repulsa. Like, why would you hire someone to be a Power Ranger whose name is Rita Repulsa?
Right.
Repulsa. She sounds like she makes a salsa in her basement.
Like, based on, like, Power Rangers name logic, you should just know that she's gonna be a bad guy.
Yeah. Zordon.
Zordon's like, huh.
Yeah, but Zordon's the good guy, though, and his name is Zordon, so...
And his name is Zordon.
I think it sounds more epic than it does, like, anything else. Like, it's like, oh, yes, I'm Lord Zordon. No, that's dumb.
Well, he just sounds like a guy who would not have any trouble with just walking over and punching me in the face while I'm in line for something at Disneyland, you know?
You're so right.
Zordon.
That's really specific, but like...
Has that happened to you before?
No, it's just, but that would just be the worst, right?
Yeah, it'd be true evil.
Yeah, it would be punching someone in Disneyland.
So, okay, the next thing I have written down, me and Adeline have talked about this before.
Oh, so
Why
much?
doesn't the kid who jerks off the bowl get to be a Power Ranger? He deserves to be a Power Ranger, I think.
Like, well, because, no, hold on. Because this kid, who we literally never see again after the
Right.
scene where he jerks off the cow, is, like, obviously Jason's
Right.
friend. Like, they're hanging out and, like, doing a heist together. And we just, like, never see him again. Why doesn't he get to experience the power of friendship?
There's so many things about, like, Jason's character that I feel like they don't explain. Like, when he's in the truck with his dad when he drops him off at, like, the first, like, detention. And he's like, they're having this conversation about, like, we'll never understand each other, like, blah, 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 like, all that kind of stuff. No, maybe you're right. We'll never understand each other. But, like,
This is your dream.
It never, like, tells us why Jason did that. It never does.
That's true.
And
I
it's
mean,
like, he's
I
a
thought there was, like, a
teenager.
throwaway line where
well-
he was like, I'm
an angsty teenager, but, like, I don't know, there's no explanation ever.
That's
and I'm
true.
just like,
Yeah.
what? But why did he put what? Just
Why
because
did he
he's
steal
a
that cow?
rowdy
Yeah.
teenager?
Why did you jay off that cow, Jason?
Jason,
why were you an
no.
accomplice to jaying off that cow? By the way,
That being said, that scene sucks, but the scene directly after that with the car chase with the
fucking
revolving
rules.
Yeah, and it's
camera
like,
in the
that's all
backseat of
like
the car.
one shot, right?
it's so cool.
Yeah, and it's dope
And they've
as
got like a
hell.
really
amazing.
cool like needle drop behind it. I don't know the name of the song, but like the whole thing like flows so
Yeah.
well. It's so cool.
Or it's, excuse me,
it's
it's a
really
21 Pilots song?
Is it really?
Yeah,
Of course it is. What am I talking about?
I forget the name of it, but it's the one that goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that one?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
movie is
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel like I
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much hate like jukebox needle drop soundtracks in all movies, except for like something like Baby Driver or Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians
Yeah,
of the
where it's like
Galaxy.
incorporated into the story. And you know, this I
Yeah.
still feel that way after seeing this movie, but I also don't like this movie in a traditional sense. So
Yeah.
I feel like
the way that they
I can
wanted
still
to
feel
do.
that way.
Yeah, so it's like scenes like this where like a radio is playing and that's what's causing the needle drop to happen. Like that's dope as hell.
Yeah.
But when we're just like walking down the street and Seven Nation Army starts playing, I'm like, why?
Yeah, and like the thing that cracks me up about this movie is that like all this music in the soundtrack doesn't have any sort of cohesion to it at all. It's like everything
not.
from like the Raconteurs to Kanye West, like just whatever the fuck is in like the
teens.
director's library, just like going in there. I don't know.
No, like for teens, the teen stuff. What teens listen to.
They gotta focus on their target demographic, all teens listen to 21 Pilots. This is commonly known information.
Also, then the next scene after that where he's dropping him off at detention and they have it's not your dream, Dad, or it's not my dream, Dad, it's your dream. Roy from The Office is just like so like insert dad-son conversation here.
Wait, by the way, just super quick, have you guys seen that TikTok where the kid is like, I think I'm gonna get into horticulture, and the mom is like, but son, what about your dream? And the kid's like, Fortnite is your dream, Mom, not mine.
Oh my god, no, I have not seen that.
It's just really good.
That's
I wanted
really
to bring
good.
that up.
Are we evolving? Are we talking about TikToks instead of
I
Vines
guess so.
now?
Oh no. It's the time has come.
Yeah.
We've crossed a line.
I was gonna say, that's one of those things,
I will
not to just like talk
remember
about
you.
TikTok for a little while, but like I watched a couple of like TikTok compilations on YouTube, and then like that just sort of got shuffled into my algorithm. So now like whenever I finish a video, it just starts playing a TikTok compilation right afterwards.
And then
it's
you're
like,
trapped.
Yeah, and it's the kind you can't just like stop watching one. Like you gotta see it through to the end. So I've seen like
I want to see how it ends.
I've seen way more TikToks than I have any right to have, considering I have not downloaded the app.
So Jackson, do you want to talk about your favorite scene in the whole movie that happens during detention?
What, when she cuts her hair?
Oh.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wait, there's a handful of other things I want to
Hello?
talk about before that. I love when he walks into the school and spends about like 45 seconds just having football memories.
Yeah.
He like looks at his jersey on the wall and you can hear the football announcer in the background. That's really great.
And his picture
and
is
he-
there.
Yeah.
In his jersey, like he died.
Yeah. That was weird. Now that you doesn't he have to wear that?
Yeah, why was his jersey in there?
I
Well,
guess
not
not,
anymore.
because he got kicked out of football.
It's like a memorial.
Yeah, you're banned from football.
R.I.P.
You jayed
Jason
off the
Scott.
cow. No
Yeah,
more
it turns out that's
football.
what he got arrested for, not stealing the cow, but jaying it
Not
off.
stealing it. Yeah, I swear, whoever wrote, it's not as bad as Life is Strange. But, the dialogue in this movie is literally, if someone just, Googled how do teens talk,
Right.
and then for, the bullying, they, literally looked up stock images of bullying, and were like,
gosh.
that's what it's like.
No, arguably one of the best scenes in this whole film is the cheerleaders in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Oh my gosh, okay, here's a little
We're cutting you out of the picture.
literally. No, here's a little bit more of backstory of my relationship with this film. Is I watched this movie the first time I ever got drunk. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
and I'm a little buzzed because it's the beginning of the film.
Right.
And we watch I think it's me and Anna and we're just hanging out because I never went and saw it in theaters. And that scene plays, and she pulls out the scissors, and then she stabs the picture, and then she uses it to cut her hair.
It's so great. It's the perfect encapsulation of everything this movie is.
I know.
It's okay, you know what that scene feels like? That feels like
What?
transplanted from an episode of Riverdale into this movie.
It does.
Oh wow!
Oh my god.
That's an exactly
like-
a Riverdale moment.
It feels like a scene that I wrote when I was in the 3rd grade and I thought I knew how to do anything.
Yeah, that's what Riverdale is.
That's what it feels like.
Oh my god!
Okay, the next thing I have
We're
written
getting you
down
out of the picture.
is that just in
Literally.
general, this movie's super well shot though.
No, yeah, the cinematography
There are so many
is
Dutch
so
angles.
good.
Yeah, The scene in detention, like, and so here's the thing about the dialogue too, is that even though it's weirdly non-accurate, sort of,
Yeah.
it's still like really tight and really fast, and it flows really well, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's sort of, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like this weird combination of like searingly awkward while also like really dynamic and like keeps the momentum of scenes going really strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the scene of detention is great. Like when he's talking to the bully and he just like smacks him in the face, and Dacre Montgomery's really
funny
great
as
in this
hell.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you just slap me? Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
weird,
It
right?
was weird.
and like, I don't know, just everybody, all the actors in this movie are super great, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the cinematography is like, I like how they did, like, even inside the boundaries of like a gritty teen action movie, like they still like had room to like be fun with cinematography.
Yeah.
That except for the weird random Dutch angles that they just like throw in there
I
sometimes.
kind of like them. I think they're fun.
Like when Billy and Jason are talking on
Yeah.
the stairs before they go to Billy's
remember
house,
that
and
one.
it's just like this weird Dutch angle for no reason.
God.
And also when Jason, there's that cool scene where Jason's riding his bike to Billy's house, and we have like the GoPro like on the front of the bike that's like really fun
Right.
and cool. But you have a moment of every single person in the town as he goes by going, Jason Scott!
And like Billy's mom opens the door, she's like, oh my god, it's
Oh my
Jason
God.
Scott.
I know. No, okay. Two things in that. Before he makes the decision to go there, he's hanging out in his room holding one of his old football statues, and then he just like breaks
Yeah.
it in half and decides to go. Which is really good.
He was having a come to Jesus moment.
It totally, the way that...
but with deciding he doesn't like football.
Yeah, that scene, when you see it, it totally reads like he's about to do something with the statue. Like he's gonna break the top off and like use it to jimmy open a lock or something, but then he just doesn't.
No.
He just broke
He
it
just tosses it
absolutely not.
aside.
because
He's
of
like, "Fuck
symbolic
that.
reasons.
Fuck, I hate that statue.
But yeah, and earlier, I don't remember if this is before or after, but Jason has a line where he's like, ever since that happened, everybody in this town looks at me like I just stepped on their dog, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
And then, like, hard
Yeah.
cut to him, like, bicycling through town. Everyone's like, oh my god, Jason Scott?
Jason Scott. I'm your biggest fan. Also, are you really that famous, like in your town for being
town.
a quarterback in football?
Right.
Does that
I
actually
could not
happen?
tell you the name
Because
of any of the football players at LC.
that sure as hell didn't happen in my small town.
No, not in my America.
Around this time, they get out to the quarry, and we're introduced to our sort of secondary two rangers, Zach and Trini.
Oh my gosh, wait, but you can't skid over Billy.
Okay, yeah.
Billy's so good.
Billy's the best part of this whole film.
Yeah, Billy is the only good, like, legitimately good
Yeah, like
part of this movie.
consistently good. Oh, that was my
Yeah,
phone.
man.
Consistently like good part of this movie. Like he's my favorite. I love him.
And like, no, yeah, it's another example of the dialogue being like really tight. Is that scene where Billy is like taking the ankle bracelet off of Jason?
Yeah.
Like, it's totally like the way they're going back and forth, and he just keeps saying like, "You gotta take it off. I'm gonna get in trouble. Like this is serious." Like it's so tight and fast and like easy to watch. It's like, I don't know. It's probably partially because of the script, but also partially because of the editing. But like it all fits so well.
It's and like I have to say this is one of my favorite parts of this whole film is how they handle Billy's character like being on the spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool to me. Like I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, like never had like an action hero just be like, "Hey, I am on the spectrum," and then we
Yeah.
just like move
Right.
on.
And
Like
then-
that's so cool.
And you see, like they don't just say that to kind of be like, oh, well, we're gonna have, you know, like there's this character on the spectrum because we're
Right.
cool, but like they actually commit to Billy. Like he stims, like he has a happy stim where he like claps his hands like a
Right,
couple
yeah.
times, and he does
Yeah.
that consistently throughout the film, and I think that is so cool.
No, yeah, and I mean,
I have
like,
a lot of respect for this movie for like having so much diversity in their cast of these like teen superheroes. Like we have people of different race. They really spell it out for you that Trini is a lesbian, but it's fine.
Yeah.
They're like
No, it's
girlfriend
great.
troubles, but like at least she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
that being
at
said,
least
the like
bi, right?
yeah, she's
Yeah, but, like,
queer of some kind.
Yes.
Yeah, but they do a really good job of having a very diverse cast. I mean, and then they still do the thing where the chosen important one is still the straight white male,
Yeah,
but it's
and
fine.
he looks like a 30-year-old man.
Oh yeah, he's like 25.
He does not look like a teenager.
No, yeah. When he's having that conversation in the car with his dad, and they're like both getting mad at each other, and like the dad looks over at him, and he's like a 25-year-old, and it just like feels like they're gonna get in a fist fight because they're both like men.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I was gonna say, like, you know, that idea of diversity is like really prevalent in Power Rangers, just as an idea, you know. Like, in the
totally.
90s, it was very diverse, but it was, like, sort of a different cultural zeitgeist, and that just meant there's a black one and an Asian one, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, that was, like,
And
part of
more
it,
than
you
one
know?
girl.
It was,
Wow.
like, we're a team, and we represent America, you know? But this movie, like, goes forward in, like, representing different kinds of diversity. Like, one of them is not... or is neurodivergent in whatever way. One of them is queer. One of them doesn't go to public school. One of them, like, all these different things. It's like trying to, and I think that's maybe the smartest one. Like, when you're talking about like high schoolers as a demographic, this sort of the idea of like people who don't go to public school isn't something that has a lot of like representation in terms of like characters in media, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that I'm saying they're the most oppressed minority in the world, but it's just like one of those things. Like, it's adding this extra level
Yeah,
of
just one of
diversity.
those little things.
Yeah. Oh, I love. God,
I mean,
love
and
this
there is
movie.
something to be said about like little diversity like that. Like,
Right.
I mean, I know I personally lose my mind whenever there's a character with glasses who isn't explicitly the nerd character because, like, I don't know, I wear glasses, but I'm also super dumb, and I would like to be represented, please.
I love that.
But anyway, our introductions to Zach and Trini. Trini
Yes.
listening to heavy metal while doing Tai Chi on top of a mountain, and
That
Zach
was-
sitting on an old abandoned trolley car with the overcast sky behind him, looking at her with binoculars and talking to himself. It's so great. I love it so much.
So good. I love the just like the concept. Heavy metal, yoga, you know, encapsulates her personality very well, I think.
There we go.
Very good.
I love. Okay, so we have like the beginning of the romantic relationship between Jason and Pink, whose name I can't remember.
Kimberly.
Kim.
Yes.
Where Kim jumps into the lake
Oh my
to like go swimming.
I forget
and then
about
Jason
that
goes,
all the time.
and then Jason goes, "No way!" And it's like she just is swimming. Why are you?
Okay, my favorite line in this whole movie, there's this interaction back and forth between them after she, like, magically
That's
pulls
so
a Penn and Teller routine and
school.
shows up behind her. But he says, like, "Oh, Kimberly." And she's like, "It's weird to hear you say my name." And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "It's weird to hear you say my name." It's like, why did you write that in? Why did you stab him?
And like,
Why did you write
Like,
that?
repeat
Why is-
yourself?
why is that so like strange?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, she's a cheerleader and he's a football player.
Yeah.
Like they're around each other.
Yeah.
You say my name like you know me. And he's like, I do know you. And she's like, well, we know each other, but we're not friends,
Yeah.
are we? And it's
God,
like, oh
that
my
whole
God.
scene is so whack.
I know.
That like I totally forgot about that scene. Like from the first time I watched the movie.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
it starts happening again and I'm like, wait, what?
starts happening in real time.
Is this happening in my Power Rangers movie? Is there a skinny dipping scene in my Power
My Power Rangers?
And then right afterwards, there's the great line, my favorite line.
my
I
God.
feel like I've said things on my favorite line in this whole movie a whole bunch of times. That's just the kind of movie it is, where Jason and Kimberly are talking, and they're like up on, like looking out over the town, and she goes, "Sometimes I just like to sit up here and look at this town and think about how such a small crap town could cause me so much misery."
It's like, wow.
It's so great.
Same.
It always makes me think about, I like to say, right after I graduated high school, I worked at the amusement park in downtown Spokane for a little while. And
Oh, yeah,
there's
yeah.
this ride called it's the berry-go-round. And it was basically like the teacups, but
But it
you'd
was
have-
berries.
Yeah. Or no, it wasn't the berry-go-round, it was the tilt-a-whirl. But you would have like these things that just spin around, but you're in like this big dome, and if you're just riding by yourself, you have like this sort of dome to yourself. And
Ooh.
there was an absolutely absurd quantity of like moody tweens who would come and ride on this ride and just sulk inside their little pods.
Oh no.
And it was so
my
funny
God.
to me being able to watch that. And I totally like I have a flashback to being there and seeing that every time I hear that line.
That's really good.
It's so angsty.
I know.
They're teenagers, just like, oh my gosh.
So they all get, so Billy blows up the mountain.
Yeah.
And they all come running together. And then there's this moment where, like, they haven't found the magic cookies yet. And Trini is, like, on top of the cliff.
Wait. Stop. Did you just call the power coins cookies?
They look like those little jelly cookies.
Yeah, they're totally cookies.
They're all cookies.
Shell cookies?
The jelly cookies? Okay, I have to look up a picture of a jelly cookie
Wait, me
to show
too.
you. Like a strawberry jam cookie.
Yeah, like a cookie that has like a jam center in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay,
Oh,
strawberry.
it came up immediately.
Jam.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, I have to save a picture and send it to you anyway because I'm already saving the picture to my desktop. But here we fucking go.
That's so sad.
Okay,
We're about to go.
but so
Okay,
we're
yes,
doing all
okay,
this.
I-
He blows up the side of the mountain, and they reveal like just this huge like cliff that's all like glass.
Wait, you forgot the part right before that where the cliff crumbles and Trini falls into it and like definitely dies.
Yeah, oh no, but she's like fine.
Right?
Like
yeah.
is super dead.
Okay, there's a whole bunch of whack editing in these sequences in terms of like
yeah.
where all the different characters are and getting them to be where they need to be.
Yeah.
Best example is when Zach is like running along this cliff and jumps onto the top of the car in the car chase sequence later.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
a few
when they're, like,
seconds
in the
later,
middle of a field.
Yeah, and then a few seconds later they cut to like a wide of the car and there's no cliff anywhere near them.
There's no way he got into that car.
so that's really great. I love that. And
So,
that's another part of that is like Trinity, I feel like just kind of pops up wherever she needs to in this sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is like a little bit, there's like from the beginning when they meet right at that scene, the two girls, Trini and Kimberly, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know, they're kind of connecting as friends and you could just kind of see that happen throughout the movie and it starts with them just like running together.
Yeah.
And what I like about that, it doesn't feel where it's like, oh, we're the girls, so we gotta like stick together, right? It's
Right.
not it's not like that. But I don't know. There was just like my little high school heart that's in there somewhere still. It was just like, oh, friends.
Yeah. And
And
well,
it's
what's
like-
fun is that there's a really organic chemistry between, I mean, I guess not all of them per se, but like the majority of the people when they interact with each other, it's not like along these really strict lines like, oh, they're the friends because they're
Yeah.
girls and this is the romantic interest and here's like, you know, it's like they just have these sort of relationships with each other that just depend on their personalities and the way they play out with each
Yeah.
other, you know?
Well, Trini and Kim, it feels like the like natural version of the we're girls, we have to stick together. Like I know
Right.
personally
yeah.
myself, it's like if there's another girl in the group, I'm probably gonna like sit next to her, you know? Like it's just like that
Yeah.
kind of like, it's not like, oh, we're the girls and we can also fight and my name's Kimberly, but like it's just like the natural version of that
Right.
happens in the real world.
Yeah. Also, why does everyone call Trini Dee Dee?
Yeah,
Like,
I
that is
wrote
a
that down
joke
too.
that did not land for me.
Yeah, it's this
I-
weird running
yeah,
joke
I
where
had
people
no
just
idea what they were talking about.
get her name wrong, I guess, but we haven't been told her name enough times for us to know that her name is Trini and not Dee Dee.
Yeah.
So it's just
like
confusing.
the audience is just confused.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, what's this character's name?
Like, wait, I thought her name was Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Oh
So
gosh.
so the next thing.
Wait,
that
no.
happens-
Oh, yeah, no. Right after, like in the car chase scene, and then they get like hit by a train.
Hit by a
fucking-
train.
hit by a train.
It was really interesting because I had just like such a visceral reaction to that, like seeing that. It was just like, oh my, they just got like hit by a train. And it was interesting because the second time I watched it, I knew it was coming, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
Levi was in the room, and like I was watching his reaction because I was really interested to see like how he was gonna, take that.
Yeah.
And he
like,
just like just horror like over his face.
I remember so vividly being in theaters with you and Ethan Jackson and just busting out laughing in the middle of this movie theater with other people watching the film around us.
I know.
Oh my god, you had such a different experience with that.
Really?
I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
Okay, it's only hilarious because nothing happens. Nothing is changed by the fact that they got hit by a train. It doesn't do anything.
I think that like it kind of establishes the fact that they are now like superhumans, where it's like, they got hit by a train, but they're okay because they're now Power Rangers.
But it's cool.
But so then why are we worried about any stakes in this whole thing?
Right.
Like when they're like when the
That's a
lady
good
comes
point.
and she's like gonna like, oh, I'll kill one of you, and it's like, well, apparently we can't fucking die because we got hit by a train.
That would be such a better film.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, go crazy, lady. I'm pretty sure I can't die. But then Billy just like drowns, and it's like, what the fuck?
Okay, super quick. Have either of you guys seen Spider-Man Far From Home yet?
No, not yet.
No.
Okay, so spoiler alert, it is the second movie I've ever seen where a teenager does get hit by a train.
Oh my, no. I don't want Peter to get hit by a train.
No.
Anyway, I'm gonna start keeping a tally every time I see a teenager get hit by a train in a movie.
So far it's 2. That's too many.
But, okay. And there's another moment from before that I want to bring up super quick. There's just this brief little moment where they're about to start getting in the car, and Billy has to unlock the doors to the car from the inside in order to let his friends in.
Yeah.
And there's something about that that's like such a quintessentially high school experience,
just,
like having a shitty car with manual locks.
Yeah. So, so first of all, they wake up after being hit by a train, and Jason wakes up and immediately leaps out of bed and puts his dukes up.
I know.
Like he was gonna fight the train.
It's like, it's like in Fresh Prince, that moment where the butler says something and Will Smith just goes, and like does this weird little karate move.
Yeah. And then I think Kim wakes up and she gets a text from her friend that's like, you are poo emoji.
Yeah. And she gets so mad she destroys her phone.
Yeah.
God, I gotta tell you, the writers of this film know exactly how teenagers act.
Yeah, dog.
And I don't know if you can tell from being sarcastic.
I feel so represented in this
Okay, wait. Before we move like too far away from the car or from the train crash scene, right?
We talked about this like 4 seconds of this movie for at least like 3 minutes, but I guess there's still more to discuss.
Yeah, there is because so like I said, Levi was in the room watching it with me, right? And I realized something. So they're obviously in the car when the train impacts the car, right?
Yeah.
But like it cuts away. And it's like all of them like in the car and they're all like slow-mo and like glasses flying everywhere and they're all like upside down and they're like
like every car safety commercial ever.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it right after that there's really like weird like shots of the coins that they're with though too.
Yeah.
And it kind of like shoots like it gets all these shots and then the car rolls down the hill. And I'm pretty sure that they are not in the car after that.
Maybe.
And like it at that moment,
go back frame by frame.
Yeah, at that moment it was like, I did my best. I was just like watching it like on PlayStation, but like
gaming.
But like, but like I'm pretty sure that like that's the moment that the coins like teleport them to safety.
Okay, that would make more sense.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah.
They still get hit by a train. But, like, so it's like they're trying to say, like, oh, but it's not that bad because they got teleported out of the car, but it's still after they got hit by the train.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
so it still doesn't make sense.
That's the bad part, is when you get hit. It's not when you fall down afterwards.
Going back to the magic cookies. So, like, they all go to school, And they all put their magic cookies all together in the middle of a table so that everyone can see in the middle of the lunchroom in the middle of lunch. Right. And they explode some stuff. But, like, after that scene, I don't think we ever see the magic cookies, like, ever again. Like,
yeah, I think you're right.
We never see the magic cookies ever again, so they were not as important as we thought they were, apparently.
And, okay, Adeline, how are you going to gloss over our favorite shot in the movie? Where, like, Billy and Kimberly are talking, and they both kind of put their coins down on the table, and there's, like, this shot of the coins, and then Jason's hand just comes out of nowhere and drops the third one, and they pan back up, and Jason's there now.
He's just like, what's up, bitches? I'm here, too.
I don't know, like, that scene was, like, cheesy as hell, right? Yeah. It's like, guys, something's happening to me. I don't feel the same, right? But then, like, I thought that was a really, like, smooth way to just, like, put Jason in the scene also.
Right.
Because instead of, like, him just, like, showing up, he, like, puts his coin down next to theirs, and all of a sudden, plus Jason makes 3, you know?
Right.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. But, yeah. Anyways.
What's that, Adeline?
No, but then, so they put all their magic cookies down, and then everybody's lunch explodes, but they get some food on the mean girls, who all go, ew, I got food in my hair and on my trendy shirt.
This movie's, like, obsessed with giving the most lukewarm possible comeuppance to all the bullies.
Yeah, who we don't even, like, learn the names of.
Yeah, it's like sometimes they get spoon-filled, or... sometimes they get spoon-filled on them. Sometimes when the city's being destroyed, they're safe in a car, but we're supposed to feel bad that their city's being destroyed around them, I guess.
No,
it's like, whatever.
An arm crushed her Lamborghini, Jackson.
Oh, that's right, their car gets wrecked. And
also the rowdy boy from detention leaps into the back of their car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
which
then
is
there's
funny.
One time when the rowdy boy gets hit by a piece of paper that he threw with super strength. That's pretty funny also.
Oh, yeah.
So those bullies really learned their lesson.
I hate bullies. Yeah.
That's something about me, is that I hate bullies. Also, for so long, until we find out about his sick mom, like, Zach's character is just 100%, I am crazy, XD. Like, that's just his whole character.
XD rar.
Yeah, like, literally.
God. I really like, I like Zach, though.
I do like Zach.
Yeah.
But for a grip, it's just like, Zach, you gotta have a personality, boy. You gotta find one.
I like that they make mistakes. And the reason I say that is because when they're training, when, like, in the training montage, and, like, Zach, like, jumps into the Zord, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, why are they called Zord if the guy's name is Zordon?
Because he is it. He is the Zord.
Is he?
Because sometimes he Zords on them.
I don't know.
Is it,
Zordon.
Is he the OG Power Ranger though?
I don't know. Don't even try with this.
He's the OG Red Boy? I don't know.
OG Red Boy.
But
yeah, anyways, Zach seems to be the one that's like, I'm gonna go into this Zord Rhino thingy, and then
everybody's
bad.
mad at him.
Okay, and also, what kind of animal is Zach's Zord?
It's got like 6 legs.
I thought it was
Is it a rhinoceros?
Yeah, it's got 6 legs. I don't know what the hell it is. Is it a beetle?
My point is like, we should be able to tell what kind of animal it's supposed to be.
Yeah, okay, so you have, like, the Tyrannosaurus, you have the pterodactyl, you have the Triceratops, and then I have no idea what the hell the other two are. And then
there's Zach and Trini's, yeah.
And then Zach and Trini's.
I like, looked up 6-legged dinosaur to see if anything popped up.
That's even a thing.
Yeah, that's called this, and I'm here to tell you that it doesn't exist.
That God never made that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same sort of problem as Transformers, where it's like all these big machines
Bumblebee.
are just. That's right, I forgot about that. But it's the same problem as Transformers, where it's like all these big machines are just like this incomprehensible mass of, like, weird
shapes.
Limbs and mechanics, and you, like, can't really tell what you're looking at a lot of the time.
Trust us,
you know?
it looks like a dude.
No, also, why are they dinosaurs?
Because they are the strongest animals.
They got made in dinosaur times.
Because they got made in the Cenozoic dinosaur times.
Yeah.
Is that really why?
Yes.
Yeah, they say that, isn't it?
They say that. They make that voice.
Yeah, Bill Hader's like, hey, this is my Bill Hader impression. Are you ready?
Hey.
Wait.
Hey, gamers.
No, I need complete silence. Hey, these things are dinosaurs because they were made in dinosaur times.
Is that exactly what he said in the film?
No.
It's
He
pretty
says, like,
close.
they're modeled after the most powerful organisms on the planet, and when we were around, these were them, or something to that
But
extent.
why don't they change for the new boys? Why aren't they? Why don't they?
Yeah.
They're
We
like
need
they're
new
like
Zords
future
for a
magic
new
that they tell
millennial
us
area.
is science. Why don't they turn into like a bear and a big truck
And a whale.
and a train?
Like,
We haven't had any big... Okay, you know what? I think bears need to be more respective in the sort of, like, scary animal
I am
zeitgeist.
terrified of bears. Bears are my least
bears
favorite
are
animal.
so scary. And moose.
Moose are scary.
Yeah. I just
One
feel
of the
like...
Zords should be a moose.
Yeah, I feel like we should
Gorilla
have more,
Zord.
like, big monsters that are bears. Like, how tight would that be?
Gorilla Zord.
Yeah.
I know the gorillas are
So, okay.
scary, but gorillas are my favorite animal, so I'm just like, oh hell yes, Gorilla Zord.
So if the three of us were Power Rangers, what would our Zords be?
That would be the Gorilla Zord.
Mine would be an oyster.
That's not big and strong.
It could be.
It's little and strong.
Slug.
Basically,
Zord.
what I'm saying
Guys.
is that my Zord would be a smart car.
I have some
You
terrible
could just,
news.
like, kick
Both
me
of your
around and I
Zords
wouldn't
suck.
die.
Yeah. You're a slug? How would that even...
Slug Zord.
A snake Zord would be
Zord.
pretty tight.
Slug Zord. Sword.
That's-
It's okay, I brought my sword, and everyone's like, please go home. Hey guys, it's me, the Gray Ranger. I brought my sword.
I'm the Peace
brought my
Ranger, and my
sword.
spirit animal is a slug.
And you just leave like this nasty trail, and everyone's like, please, we don't need any help. Just let Godzilla destroy the town.
like-
Please leave.
All right, Goldar,
like-
are you
but,
ready
like,
to get
you're-
slimed?
But like, it's like to scale to an actual slug. But so
Not only
it's
is
just
it
like
bad, it's also really shitty at doing its job. It's shitty on all levels.
they're all like, okay, Power Rangers, let's go, and they're all like right away in their Zords, and then there's just the slug,
The sword.
like still moving, like really slow.
Okay, I don't know. We can't let this podcast be like 3 hours long. We gotta keep moving.
Okay.
No.
Okay, we all knew that this episode was gonna be super long, so we're talking about
That's
Power
true.
Rangers, but like,
That's true.
so they all get back together at the gold mine, and they're like, oh, we all have magic powers, and Trini's like, fuck you guys, for some reason. I have no idea what her malfunction is.
Because she's
She has
she's so low.
parent troubles.
Yeah.
She's so low.
She's a lesbian,
lone
and no
wolf.
one knows how she feel. But,
Yeah.
so they all jump over the big cliff, and the jumping all looks super fake, which is just...
Okay,
and
hold
then,
up. You forgot when they climb up the mountain after each other.
like,
Oh,
feral
oh
and
my
they're
children
like
God,
climbing
scuttling
up
up like
stairs.
So
horrible
bad.
gremlins. Yeah.
You know what I liked? Two things I liked about this scene of like them trying to catch Trini, right?
Yeah.
The cheerleader like out athleted like all of the other ones, which is kind of funny to me because cheerleaders are terrifying. Okay, they're super strong, and then second,
That should be what your Zord is.
Cheerleader.
Cheerleader.
Shape of a high school cheerleader.
Ah!
But then like it was a fun like moment like watching them like jump over, like coming to terms with like, oh, we could do this now, like let's check it out, and like experimenting with that. I thought that was
That
kind of
was
cool.
fun. But then-
what was that song?
Hold on.
No. I've been wanting to say this for like 10
No, I'm
minutes.
gonna go. Wait, I'm gonna go
Okay,
first.
okay.
The cheerleaders are special powers that it sends you poop emojis.
Okay, good, great. Solid.
You go, Adeline.
Okay, and then Billy jumps over and misses, which prompts Jason to go, Billy! 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 For like 5 whole minutes.
No. Billy!
Your impression of what that sounds like is actually really good,
Yeah,
Adeline.
because that's what it sounds like. He's not doing anything. His friend has fallen off of a cliff, and he's just going,
yeah.
Billy!
It's important to note that, like, Billy makes the jump,
Yeah.
but then he falls backwards after he's made the jump.
Just to get
Like Wile E.
you.
Coyote.
Yes.
And it always just reminds me, have either of you guys seen Greatest Showman?
No, I haven't.
Yes.
Okay, so there's this moment when Zac Efron and Zendaya are having their big romantic moment in like this, what do you call it when there's like two bits of fabric coming down from the ceiling and you like spin around and climb around on it?
What
I know
is
what you're
that
talking
called?
about. Silk
Yeah.
dancing?
She's on one of those.
Yeah,
and
they're
she
doing
starts,
silks, right?
Silks? Sure. She's on some silks.
I think that's what it's called.
That doesn't sound right, but whatever.
She's on some silk shit.
And she starts like climbing up, and Zac Efron is like, "Oh, I gotta catch up to her." And then he just like jumps and climbs up a wall like Spider-Man.
That's right. You talk about that
Whoa!
all the time.
It does?
It's so
Oh, I
good.
forget about that.
It's just one of those moments where like I'm sitting in a theater and I have to just pretend like that didn't just shatter my entire world. And I'm like looking at everybody around me like, did anybody else see that? Or is that cool?
What? Am I the only one that thinks that's really weird?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Basically, the whole Power Rangers movie is
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah. Remember that time when us and all of our friends bought tickets to see The Incredible Hulk in IMAX?
Yep,
where they
yep,
did
yep,
that
yep.
weird re-release?
Yep,
And there was one showing at like 1 p.m. and we thought nobody was going to be there, so we were just being really obnoxious, but then like a mom and her 2 kids showed up also.
Oh no.
And then we had to be polite.
Yeah, during an
Oh,
IMAX
man.
showing of The Incredible Hulk in a mostly empty theater.
Oh man. Okay, so we get to that really cool scene where we're in the water and they like go in through the water portal and they like fall out backwards, and that's cool and imaginative and cool. But
Yeah.
but then we meet Haha Funny Robot, and
Yeah.
God, what is his problem?
Do you
God,
guys
I
also
that
hate Bill
robot.
Hader in this movie? Because I hate Bill Hader
yeah,
in this
Billy.
movie.
Well, but then also all of these kids are so down to just murder this robot. They're like, he's like,
And it's shot like a horror scene where like the robot drags Trini like
That's
down a
right.
hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the funny robot is like, okay, follow me, kids, to the Power Rangers room. And then they're like, what do we do? And they're like, the
they're like,
first
"Fucking
chance we
no,
get,
oh
we're
my God,
killing
please,
him. And it's like, oh God, guys.
I've just discovered an alien, and that motherfucker's gotta die.
Guys,
And I can't allow that.
guys, you guys are down to kill that thing too, right? Like we're gonna kill that
yeah,
guy,
for
right?
sure. We gotcha. I already have a gun.
Like I really like that their headquarters is in like this, cave, like spaceship, like kind of deal.
Yeah.
I did not like the animation that happened.
Nope.
Like when they're like standing in there and like the robot's like I think it's actually before Alpha 5 shows up. And it's like all the walls are spinning.
Right,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And it's like everything's moving around. I did not like that.
It's because it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just like...
And they're all like, oh no.
It's because they never tell you the layout of the ship. They just kind of tell you that they walk in and then there's this Power Rangers room. So anytime they like
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
anything, it just like it has no bearing on anything that we see. So it's just like whenever
Right.
it's moving, it's different now.
Yeah.
Okay, there's this moment, I think it's before they actually end up in the ship, where they're like all falling down somewhere or something, and Zach like lands on top of Trini.
No,
and
Trini
she,
lands on
pushes him
him.
off. Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Regardless,
And they're all
one of
they're
those
all,
things.
Have a moment.
And Trini like pushes him off, and she's like, "Oh, again?" When that's never happened before in the movie.
He goes,
Like,
nice
right,
to meet
yeah,
you
like-
again. And she goes, again? And she punches him.
Oh my god.
So then,
And then, so they show them that like nightmare flashback
yeah.
of like.
Oh yeah.
So they have this
also,
weird vision
that
of like
was
the
scary.
world getting destroyed.
Yeah.
But like the thing about it is that afterwards they're like, "Why'd you show us that nightmare?" And he's like, "That wasn't a nightmare. That was the future." I was like, "What?
It
In the
was,
future,
though.
your house is in the middle of a road. Trust me." Like.
Okay.
What?
Okay, so two things. Rita is just like a lady. I know she's the villain, but why is she so weird and spooky and like eats raw fish? Like, why is that a part of it?
Because she's
She's the spooky villain.
Because she's the green Power Ranger.
Yeah.
Right.
But then
Oh, okay.
Oh,
also,
no,
okay,
I'm
wait, a
talking.
moment.
fuck you, I'm talking.
Okay.
But then she's also like the world's biggest pervert. Like, she always is like rubbing all up against the kids and like slurping their ears, and like she's like, oh, I used to be so pretty, just like you, Trini. And then she like pins her to a bed after we've learned that Trini is a lesbian, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, and it happened like right after we had that conversation
is Rita
about
sex
Trini
offender?
liking girls.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, really? That was super uncomfortable to watch. You are right.
So there's this moment. I know we just said that we all hate Bill Hader in this movie.
Yes.
But there is a moment where they're like standing in their spots and Bryan Cranston's like, yes, the Ranger power. Do you feel it? And Bill Hader's like, yeah, they do. And
That was really good. I mean,
the
Alpha 5 is the best hype.
there's not a lot of good, like, intentional goofs in this movie, but my favorite goof is the one where they're talking about the pit, and they just kept saying the pit, where Zordon's like, take them to the pit to train, and Alpha 5's like, the pit? They won't like the pit, and then Zordon's like, they have to go in the pit, and everyone's like, the pit? And then there's like, this is the pit! Like, I just think that's really good.
Okay. Around here, we start getting into the training montages, which are kind of cool. They just
love.
Oh, okay. Tabby loves.
Love.
But it's just like showing them a whole bunch of like different things and like intercutting it with their school lives now that things are different and that kind of thing.
What's with
Adeline
the
and
Krispy
I's favorite
Kreme
moment in this
sponsorship?
movie-
Oh my gosh.
But Adeline and
What
I's
is with
favorite moment in this whole movie is when they're all hanging out in class and they throw a piece of paper to each other that says, we should start a band.
It's just like the quintessential high school experience, like, honestly.
To me, that's like, I don't know, that it just seems like in high school everybody's always trying to start a band.
It's like the
I don't know
only
why.
relatable teen moment in the whole movie.
That and having a
my
shitty
gosh.
car with manual
That's
locks.
true.
Those are the two.
Right. I like the scene in the training montage where Trini and Kim are like at some
No, they're
cafe.
at Krispy Kreme. That's where they're at.
Yeah, of course they're at Krispy
Oh my-
Kreme.
are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Oh my, I did not. Okay, anyways, yeah, full disclosure, I've never been to
Krispy
Krispy
Kreme's
Kreme.
great. I have no idea why they're sponsored by this movie.
You want to know what I used to do when I was a kid at Krispy Kreme?
Don't tell the story.
I just thought it was...
So I'm allergic to wheat, but sometimes my family like to go get donuts. So what I would do is I would just get a chocolate covered donut with sprinkles, and I would just lick the frosting off of it and leave a slobbery donut behind that we would throw away.
That's so sad. Oh, okay, wait.
I haven't thought about that in so long.
This does not have to do about Power Rangers at all. But this is really funny, and I think it's a little worse. I knew someone who liked Doritos. Okay. But this person, also not a great person, like didn't like the carbs, or like, oh, it's too many calories to like eat a bag of chips. So she would like lick all of the stuff off of the Doritos and then just like leave like the chips, like the Dorito powderless chips.
Oh, God.
And she wouldn't dispose of them until she was like all done.
Gross.
And so another person I was with thought, oh, look, a chip. And like went to eat it.
Yes, I love
It was
wet
so
chips.
gross. Anyways, okay, yeah. Anyways,
So
yeah.
I think
Power Rangers.
having the crystal that contains all life being under a Krispy Kreme is really funny. Like, that's funny.
Right.
I
But
agree. I
it is
enjoy
made
that joke.
less funny by the fact that we've already seen that Krispy Kreme before. If it was just like random, like, where is it? It's just under Krispy
Right.
Kreme. Like, that'd be hilarious. But we've like already been to Krispy Kreme like 3 times throughout this movie.
Right.
That it's like, okay, whatever. And also, but because it's under the Krispy Kreme, the ending of this movie, I think they say the words Krispy Kreme like probably about 100 times. And it's just
Right, yeah.
hilarious.
And-
like how much this is like
and
such a paid
also-
sponsor.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not, the crystal isn't under the Krispy Kremes. It's in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I just
Do you remember
near
that?
a Krispy Kreme. I don't know.
It's just near a
It's
Krispy
adjacent
Kreme.
To be honest, the last 20 minutes of this movie are like the most boring 20 minutes of any movie ever. So I
Oh
have
my god, I am
little
so
to no
glad
memory.
you agree.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the last fight scene.
Oh, it's so boring.
It goes through so many stages. Listen, I know we're not talking about like the end probably right now, but I like listed out, can you hear my paper? I like listed out like all of the stages of the final battle
God, yeah.
and
Right.
like what times they start and what times they end. I feel very passionately about the end of this film. It's my least favorite part.
Right.
But anyways,
So we go to
continue.
Rita, and she's being a creepy lady, and she's
oh yeah.
sexually offending some teenagers and eating gold. But like,
Yeah, I like that she
so
starts like
scary.
eating a piece of jewelry in front of that woman and she doesn't like call the police
no,
then.
she hit the button before
Like
that.
as if it's just weird that she's eating jewelry and not like
Crime.
theft. Yeah.
I liked the scene where she was in the jewelry
I-
shop. I thought that was
Okay,
kind
I
of
just
funny.
hate Rita's character because they so they made this gritty reboot that like take place in reality. But Power Rangers famously has the shittiest, cheesiest villains on the planet. Like that's their
Right.
whole shtick. And so then they trying to like insert a shticky character into the gritty world, and it just
Don't call Rita Repulsa sticky.
listen, let me talk. But it doesn't work. Like she either has to commit to being like a good villain or she needs to commit to being a cheeseball. And she's just not good enough in this role to like be a
Right.
silly actor, you know?
No, and
Yeah.
it all ties back into what we were talking about at the beginning. Like this movie's in constant conflict with itself because it wants
Yeah.
to be like really relatable and down to earth, but it also wants to be Power
Yeah.
Rangers. Like it wants to pull specifically from that Power Rangers nostalgia. So the things
Yeah.
that don't work, like in general, I think the grounded down to earth stuff like works really
Yeah.
well in its own weird kind of way. But all the Power Rangers stuff that they pull and put into it feels super out of place and like doesn't tie into the tone of the movie as we've set it up so far.
Yeah.
You're so right.
It's a kind of a part of that, but kind of not a part of that, where the teens are all having their like soul-bearing moment where they're like trying to become closer. Everyone's like, oh, tell you your secret. And then Pink's like, I can't. My secret is so terrible. No one look at me. No.
Right.
And then you just find
Yeah.
out that she like sent somebody some nudes that she shouldn't have. And like, don't get me wrong, that's terrible and very high school. But
Yeah.
like, just like in comparison to like all the other things that are happening in this movie, it's just like, I kind of just wanted to tell Pink to get over it, you know? Like, when we're dealing
Yeah.
with the end of the world and we're
Yeah.
dealing with people's, like, sick mothers and, like, feeling unloved by their parents. And she's like, oh, I sent a text that
That's
I
like-
shouldn't have. And it's just like, ugh.
The last thing that she should be
Yeah.
worrying about.
And it's like, well, and my problem with it isn't necessarily that she doesn't say it at the campfire, but it's like she doesn't bring that back to the group.
No,
ever.
just to
Like, the
Jason.
whole point
Yeah.
is that they're supposed to have this like sense of unity together as a unit, and she does, you know, she confesses to Jason, but like the rest of them still don't know. So why is it that they get to be Power Rangers now when she still hasn't
Yeah.
like made herself vulnerable to the
I
rest of
think-
them, you know?
Yeah, I think that it's because she hadn't told like literally anybody the truth about like that whole drama, like that high school drama situation.
Right.
Right? Like, so yeah, she was the only one that knew, and the insecurity that she was having is that it was her fault because nobody knew. Like, it was her fault that they couldn't morph or
Yeah,
whatever
she's
it's
like,
called.
I'm the reason we
Right.
can't morph. It's because I sent Stacy's nudes.
Yeah, and so like she tells Jason, and then she feels like a little bit of relief, and then they can morph, I guess, is like the point of that.
Right. I still think she should have
but you
taken
know-
it back to the group still.
I agree. But there is one thing that I really, really like about that scene specifically, but also the whole movie. They don't kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like
and
Jason and Kimberly don't kiss.
Yeah, and they're not explicit about them having a romantic relationship really at
Yeah,
all.
like it's definitely there,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
Yeah, there's the part where they're like all dying and falling into that pit of fire where they like reach at, like for each other through the windows.
like the end of Toy
Zords.
Story
Right.
3, but not good.
Yeah, no, they try to have their Toy Story 3 moment that just
It's
sucks.
just really bad.
Except it is thematic because Rita, and I'm not saying this is good. Rita yells, "Boy push them into the pit.
Oh God, I didn't even realize. God, I hate the end of this movie so much. I wrote down that Zach's big monologue at the campfire scene. It's just funny to me because he has such a like teen actor quality to him.
Yeah.
Like I should have written down some lines, but he's just like, and every day I think to myself that maybe I could just do the thing that I wish I could do, you know? And you're like, all right.
Yeah, okay. So then the teens are all down for murder again as they go to murder Rita.
Wait. Okay,
Oh
hold
my
on, hold
God,
on.
oh yeah.
Just a sec. Before that, we need to touch on the fact that Billy set off an explosive device at school and got detention
Yeah,
for
and didn't
it.
get shot
a
by
really
the
good
police
point.
Didn't
like
go
would have happened in real
to
life.
jail. Yeah.
I had not even thought about that.
Yeah, and then he does it again at the end.
Like it's like in Blade where the titular Blade just like beats up a cop in the middle of the street and nobody reacts.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like that. It's like if you're gonna place the film in gritty reality and not touch on the fact that this is a black child. Like I don't know. I feel like like Billy is black and it's great that he's black. I think we've had this conversation before, or someone's had this conversation before. Like there's a difference between characters who are black and black characters, and I wish the fact that he was black affected the story even a little bit, because it feels like they don't ignore it. They make a joke about it, but I feel like it does affect the social world that Billy is a part of, especially being a person of color and being not neurotypical. Like I feel like there's a really cool story to tell there, and I feel like we don't tell it.
Well,
At the same time,
Go ahead.
it is still a Power Rangers movie.
Right.
And so, like, that's not what
I
it's
guess I just want it to be the
for, or
Billy
at least,
show
like, that's
starring
what they don't
Billy.
think.
Like I don't care about the rest of the Power Rangers.
I am so on board with that. Like, I am on board that
Let's
train.
just make a Billy movie.
Okay, my point though is that I feel like if anybody of any nationality set off a bomb in their school,
also.
they would probably suffer major
also true.
consequences more than detention. And then he does it a second time at the end of the
We're
movie.
fine. It's fine.
Like,
It's fine.
That's so,
how is in what way is Billy not a terrorist in this movie?
There was that like end of credit scene did not translate well to me at all, because they were like showing like, oh
Green
yeah,
Ranger.
who's the green Power Ranger? Yeah, like who's the green one now? And it's like the desk in the corner, which like wasn't realistic at all, but it was kind of cute, right? but then like there's a
Yeah, that is
an
locker
explosion,
explodes.
like, or like the locker, like whatever. I was so confused the first time I saw that, and I legitimately thought, I was like, oh, because it was kind of clearly like, you know, a black teenager boy's voice that he spoke, because it was Billy, obviously, but it was kind of like I could clearly hear that, and I was like, oh, is the Green Power Ranger also gonna be like a black kid? Like that's cool.
Right.
But like, so that confused me so bad.
I have no idea why the locker explodes again. I have no idea why that happens.
Yeah,
Because Billy set off another bomb at
why?
school.
because he's a terrorist.
Yeah.
He's the best part of this movie, also a terrorist.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they go, they don't have their suits, and they all go to kill Rita, and they all fuck up, and then
Well, okay, yeah, and they go to kill Rita, and they pick up like
Pipes.
chains and baseball bats, and
Yeah,
like
that's so
you like want
funny.
them to like take a board and hammer a nail through it. They're like ready to just like fuck up Rita Repulsa.
and then-
They're gonna bum rush Rita Repulsa.
this movie was on thin ice for quote unquote killing their only good character and also the only black character. But it's okay because everyone who's ever seen any movie ever knows that Billy's not dead.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, and that's a whole like conversation. I have a question for you guys. Do you think that the movie is better because they brought Billy back, or should they have kept Billy dead?
I think it's
Look, if I were writing the script, I was thinking this while I was doing it. I don't know if it would be better, but I think the decision I would have made is I would have kept Billy dead, and I would have had Zordon come back like he planned. And then, like, Zordon was, like, the fifth ranger, and they had to, like, deal with the fact that Zordon fucking sucks
think-
for the rest of the movie and, like, be super
I
mad
think
at him.
having the crux of this movie being about the group being friends and coming together as a whole, just like through being together and being friends. And then having what like really connects them is killing one of them is such a cop-out, you know? Like, it should have just been, like, I feel like they shouldn't have killed him in the first place. Like, maybe they save him, and that's what brings them, because they all care about Billy, so they save him together. Like, that would have been so much better. Because, like, the crux of this movie has been them becoming friends just naturally, because they like each other and they care about each other. But so then to just...
Which is cute as hell.
Just have, like, none of that matter, and just have them bring Billy back, and that's what brings them together. It just seems like such a cop-out to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I also just want to say that the slow cover of Stand By Me that plays after Billy dies is really good.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard.
I know.
I was like, oh, how dare you ruin this moment, this sad moment, with your ridiculous nonsense.
But what I wanted to say was the moment where they sort of bond together and become like that much closer is when they all have the conversation where they say that like he died in order that so that the rest of us could succeed in this, and they say all of us would have done the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like it's this really cathartic moment, and it's like a really realistic like sort of grieving moment. Yeah. And the fact that he comes back 20 seconds later, just like
okay, so Zordon died, but his consciousness got saved into the computer. So when he steps out through the morphin gas, does he have a body? Where's that body? What is he doing? And that's...
Don't even with this.
He takes over Alpha 5's body. And then he's...
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought you were telling me some real lore. This is just your slash fiction.
And then you have like two like voices coming out of Alpha 5's body, and one is Zordon and one is regular Alpha 5.
Okay. But
just have Bill Hader and Bryan Cranston play Zordon.
But like, okay, so Zordon coming back doesn't make any sense, right at the front. But they've at least established that it's something that he can do, and it's like, that's fine. But then when he just like brings back Billy, it's like, what the hell are the rules to this? Why can't you just grab a soul from heaven and bring it back? Like, Billy's consciousness wasn't saved into a computer and brought back through the morphin gas. Like, you just said that he wasn't dead anymore, and it worked.
Right, yeah. What do you guys think about the costumes?
They're very good, except for the weird mouths.
Yeah, except for the mouths.
I don't like them at all.
And also their butts. Their butts are weird.
From maybe like a costume design perspective, there's definitely something to be said about like, and I don't know anything about that type of thing. And I mean, you know, they look cool. They look like Power Rangers, but I feel like there's just too much going on.
The aesthetic is
and
too
it
much.
could be so much more simple. Yeah, because I feel like it's trying to be like, ooh, like lots of little metal bits, like transformery, and it's all like really shiny, and it's like it's just hard. I don't know. It's hard for me to look like.
Well, same with the Zords.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Because they share that
aesthetic, and like the Zords and the Power Rangers are like hard to look at.
Yeah, and they just look all the same.
Yeah, and I don't know, this movie, just in general, I was thinking, like, at least we don't have to look at them for very long. But, like, and that's just another part of this movie, is, like, the fact that they don't suit up until, like, the last half hour is a really strong choice to make in a movie like this.
Agreed,
and it just goes to show, like, for a second time that this movie wants to be really serious. Like, it wants to be seen as, like, an art house blockbuster, like Logan or something. Like, it's making these really deliberate script decisions in order to put the focus away from the action and onto the characters. And they totally wrote off the action as just, like, stupid, boring bullshit at the end.
And not only that, but to, like, totally, like, on the other side of that spectrum, right? Just, like, all of the sudden they also form Voltron.
Right, yeah.
Like the Megazord or whatever it's called.
We all know.
And, like... It's just Voltron, but like all of that work that they had done to just morph in the first place, and then like get the Zords, you know,
right?
It like it is then they just have a Voltron, and it's like Okay. Like, how did that happen? I guess, like, it's their, like, dying, like, moment, and they're all like, I love you guys! And then, they almost die, and then they form Voltron.
Right.
And I'm really salty about
it. They
it.
get the Zords and are, like, in the end fight. Suddenly, all of the dialogue just, like, goes out the window. Now they're just shouting weird, random, like, 3-word phrases that, like, at any random time.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Oh my God, you're right.
Zach,
No, I'm gonna talk about this.
Literally, like, every minute, Zach just goes, ah! And that's all that Zach does, the whole end fight.
Right.
Oh my God,
Well, because it's sort of paying homage to, like, the way that the original Power Rangers show
But you
was
can't
produced,
just do
right?
that. You can't
because
just throw that in at the end of the gritty film. You can't just
Right.
suddenly be cheesy.
Yeah, let me finish what I'm saying, though. Like, the original show, you have, like, these American actors doing their thing for their regular thing, and then you cut to all the action sequences with the Zords and the, like, just the regular Power Rangers, and it's B-roll taken from a Japanese show that they've sort of incorporated into their own American version. So their faces are all covered up, and you've just got these actors, like, B-rolling, like, yeah, take that. Oh, yeah.
No, and I
Good
get
job.
that. I
Like,
get
just
that for the
over
original
this.
Power Rangers. But, like, this movie just does nothing to earn being the Power Rangers,
Yeah.
Like, when the Power Ranger theme starts playing when they're on their Zords, like, I audibly went, like, fuck you, movie. Because you didn't earn
Yeah.
to be able to be silly. Like, you didn't earn that.
Right. And yeah, no, and that's the thing.
Oh my God.
Is like the original Power Rangers, like you can love it for whatever reasons you want, but it's not an effective
No, it's not
storytelling
good.
mechanism. Like it really there's absolutely nothing to it on pretty much any level besides that it's colorful. And you can't, like, especially like I said, when you're trying so hard to take yourself seriously, you can't, like, take storytelling ideas from, like, the worst TV show that's ever been made and put them in there on purpose. Like, it doesn't work.
God, what a synonym.
A synonym.
And it's...
One of the last things I have written down is I forgot they play Kanye over the big
forgot
fight.
that Rita fucking gets Team Rocketed out of there and dies in space.
Oh my God.
She gets backhanded.
She asphyxiates in space. That's how she dies.
Okay, also on the topic of Rita and the suits and all that stuff, boob plate armor is bullshit. I hate boob plate armor.
Why would you?
Just like the suits look so dumb.
Why wouldn't it just be a
with
chest piece?
boobs.
Why does it have to have the boobles? Why does that?
Why do you have to show the boobs? And then like the kids are like, "Well, I want to be the yellow one. He's cool." But like the armor has boob plate armor.
You can't.
It's like,
you can't make a choice to have the boobles and then ignore the boobles. Like, they're there. You gotta accept them.
Yeah, you can't do that. You have to take
Accept the
responsibility for your
boobles.
actions.
God.
God.
Yeah, that little kid
have,
should have been like, "No, Trini, the yellow Power Ranger has tits. We saw them."
Gonna go G off this cow.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I have a little detail that I had written down in my notes that I thought was really cool. It's like, so you remember the part in the final fight where Jason's dad is like driving around in his truck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the car crashes the same exact way that Jason's did at the beginning of the film.
Right.
Where he flips over and stuff. And like, I don't know, I feel like this movie tried to have callbacks like that every so often. Like there was the one with like the pit where Rita says that and they throw him into the fire pit. Right. And then like there's that with like the car. And I think there was a couple more. And like
the slapping is like weird.
Oh
right?
yeah, the backhand. Yeah, they backhanded Rita with like just like how he did it with the bully. And it's just like, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like 100 of these like Chekhov's gun callbacks in this like horrible final act of this movie. And it just goes to show you that like it's all like good writing on paper, like it's effective. That's what you're supposed to do, like in order to make the ending of something like this satisfying.
Yeah.
But like I can't be bothered to give a shit because nothing you're showing me on screen is in any way appealing at all.
It's just not.
Yeah. Uh-huh. God. And like oh my gosh, okay, this is I'm so glad I'm looking at my notes because I wrote so many good things down. But there's like the Rita scenes kind of earlier in the film, throughout the whole thing, just like there's such a huge shift in tone.
Right.
Like when she like eats that homeless guy. And like it's so, and I think it's has a lot to say with what you're saying, Jackson, is just like this movie like can't commit to being one thing.
Right.
And it's just trying to be so many things at once, and it almost does it.
It
but
just
it
can't do it. It can't
you know?
just like force itself to commit to anything. It just can't.
Yeah.
You know, good movie.
It's because there's so many people that are always like so mad about things being inaccurate. And I bet like the first draft of this was like this really slow, like character driven, like Logan-esque art blockbuster. And then the studios were like, nah, they're gonna be pissed if they get this. They need Power Rangers in it. So they're like, okay, we'll
make
fucking
a
put
Power
Power
Rangers
Rangers in it, I
movie.
guess.
I guess.
You know what I really liked about when they did form the Megazord, the Voltron Zord,
Set.
is when like the first thing that they do is like to go like run is fall. Because they've never done it before.
Right.
Like I appreciate that so much. Like cuz the movie could have been like, yeah, now they're the Megazord and they're going to fight Goldor and it's going to be awesome.
Excuse
but they like
me,
trip and fall
Goldor.
on their face. And it's a really Goldor. Zordon. God, I hate the names.
It's because they're from the bad thing. They just stole them from the bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I hated the final
and then
battle.
the movie
It was
just
the
like
worst.
ends. And then the movie's
So
over.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
you're
they play
like,
I Got the
"Aw,
Power"
man."
over the credits.
But
And then
yeah.
Billy bombs the
Second
school a second time
in
2
1
hours.
week.
Okay, wait. Wait, I have the phases that I like mapped out. Okay, because like here's the thing, and this is common in video games, right? In like final boss battles, it's like really it's really interesting to see the fight go through phases. So like in like a Zelda game, for example, like you'll be fighting a bad guy and then he gets more arms, right? And now you have more to worry about and like that kind of thing. And so it's nice that the fight scene transitions like even geographically to like from like different places. Like that's cool. But it does it too many times. Like they're like in their morph suits and they're like fighting the
or whatever they call them.
rock gobbers. Yeah, like the golem guys, right? And then oh my gosh, we forgot about the big golem. There are 2 kaiju. There's Goldor and then there's the big
those
golem.
are the
There's
same,
not a big golem.
weren't they? I thought that those are the same.
they?
Those are the same.
Yeah.
No, there was a big golem, right?
No, there's no big golem. I feel like I
Because he
remember
would be
the
my
big
favorite.
golem.
He would be my Zord.
But like, so it goes through like they're in the morph suits and then they're in the Zords and then they're all like separately fighting the in the Zords, right? And then they're like they beat Rita, but then she stands back up and then they get beaten, but then they turn into Voltron and then they win. And it's like it goes through so much and it's just too much to watch and it gets so boring after a while.
I was about to say, I wrote down this movie is 2 hours long and you feel every minute of it.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours long and you enjoy 90 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really good. That should be your Letterboxd review.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to start wrapping it up. Do we have any other? I mean, I feel like we've kind of said everything we want to say, right?
Yeah, like it's a hell of a time. It's not good.
I love this movie so much.
It's so
know.
good.
I get so much crap for like being like a film student, you know, at a university and like enjoying bad movies as much as I do.
It's like
people are like, "What's your favorite movie?" And I'm like, "Pacific Rim." And
Spiteful
they're
goes
like,
west.
and you're a film student? And I'm like, yeah. But like, there's just, this movie is so interesting. And I love all of the parts where they're just being high schooler kids and just, being the Rangers.
Being
but
our
also
alternative
being high
teenagers.
schoolers. Yeah. And I like this movie.
Great.
Yep.
Who wants to start with our secondary? We don't have a name for this segment. Should we come up with a name for this? We've just been calling it secondary things forever, and that sucks.
Phase 2.
Like Marvel. Like,
Just move into phase 2.
You
That
know?
works, I guess.
you know.
It's bad.
Or are we? Are we just grandfathered
should call it
into
the
secondary
Cenozoic
things
era.
now?
That's really good.
All right, so it's time for the Cenozoic era. Who wants to go first?
Oh.
Did you not think of one, Adeline?
Okay, so here's the thing. We're partying the kimono again. So we are recording this on a Saturday, and we post them on a Sunday. So this isn't going to be for this week. This one's going to be for next week. So we recorded
gotcha.
the one that you're going to hear on the 21st already. So I had my secondary thing for that week, but then I was like, oh shit, I have to have another one too, and
So this is just you saying that we recorded close together, so you didn't take the time, the like 40 seconds it would take to think of something you like?
No, but it's
Oh
I
my
have to
God.
think of something culturally relevant that I have anything to talk about. Like, do you want me to talk about fucking Undertale? Like, I could say Undertale is good. Do you want that?
You can talk about
can say
Undertale if you
Sims
want.
4
That's a
is
perfectly
good.
valid choice.
Like, I don't have new.
Do you want Jackson and I to go first?
Yes.
And you can, like, think about it.
Okay.
God.
Jackson, you go first.
All right, so my thing this week is just the careers of Penn and Teller.
Fuck you, Jackson.
What? Why?
Nothing.
Okay.
Is that what you were gonna say?
We're
Yes.
talking about Penn and Teller this week. No.
Okay, but wait, I have not heard of this. What are you talking about?
Okay, so Penn and Teller are they're just like the biggest, like most famous magicians.
Okay.
You've seen them for sure. They're like a big guy with a ponytail and a short guy who doesn't really talk. I've heard that Teller's not actually that short. Penn Jillette is just like 40 feet tall. But
He's like Andre the Giant.
yeah. But so they've had this just like crazy careers of being these hugely professional or hugely successful magicians. They have a residency in Las Vegas where they play like 5 days a week and have
cool.
done for like years and years and years and years. But
Yeah.
they're just like so famous as just like general personalities that they're at a point in their career where they could just kind of do whatever the fuck they want. But the reason I bring it up specifically is because it's one of the best YouTube rabbit holes I think you can go down, is just clicking on Penn and Teller magic acts, because they've had so many different televised specials and televised shows that there's absolutely no shortage of their material that you can just find for free on the internet.
Wow.
One that I watched today is they have a really great routine where they have two people in the audience. They make sure that they ask for like veterans or somebody who's like familiar with firearms, and they load 2 bullets into guns. They have the guys like sign their names on the bullet. They stand like on opposite sides of the stage, and the two of them shoot a real gun at each other, and then they like catch the bullet in their teeth, and they spit it out, and it's the bullet that they signed that they put in the gun on the opposite side. And it's like, there's absolutely no, like, it's insane trying to figure out how they do some of the things that they do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But what's so cool about their material is that they are also, they're not like typical magicians, quote unquote. I literally every time I almost say musicians.
They're not like other girls.
But they're not like trying to give this facade of like, oh, it's just magic, who knows? Like they talk really, really openly about the craft of magic and like techniques they use and how certain tricks are done, you know. And that's like part of their show is they talk about like how to do sleight of hand. And even if you know how to do something like sleight of hand, it's still really impressive to see somebody do it, especially when it's like really fucking good sleight of hand, you know. It, if anything, just makes you appreciate it more when you see it. So that's like part of their act, is like educating you about like the craft of magic while also showing you really, really good magic.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and their show right now, I'm not sure what channel it's on, but they have a show called Fool, Penn and Teller that our family just sort of watches when it's on a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And they basically they hire all these amateur, not musicians, magicians. They hire all these amateur magicians to like go up and show their best trick, like this trick that they've crafted and planned over years and years. And if Penn and Teller in the audience know how they did it when they perform it, then they don't get anything. But if they say, "You got us, we have no idea what the fuck you just did," then you win.
Oh wow!
Like a spot in their Vegas show. So it's just this show where these magicians come on and do like the best tricks in the world, and sometimes Penn and Teller are like, "What the fuck was that? Like how did you do that?"
Yeah.
And you know they do their own show. They do their own routines within that show to like bookend the show also. And one last thing I want to talk about is they've also got a video game career wherein they just make like the weirdest video games, and they're always with the intention of just making your friends look like idiots. They had a game for the Sega CD called Smoke and Mirrors. There was like just a bunch of different mini games, and they're basically like pranks. So you would invite your friend over and be like, "Oh, hey, play this multiplayer game with me. It's like this Galaga shooter." But it's like set up so that one person always has the higher score than the other, and it's like super whack and rigged towards you. And there's a button installed in it that you can press it so that it switches that sort of quality to the opposite person. So if it's like with the intent that like, yeah, if your friend is like, "Something's up, I want to switch," you can like press a secret button and it makes it so that you're still winning on the opposite side. So they're all like just stupid pranks like that. And they have a game for VR machines coming out soon that are the exact same thing. Like there's one where it's like this mini game where you're supposed to sit down at a table and like smack eggs as they come out of something. But the idea is that like your friend, they are like smacking down on this table a whole bunch of times, and then you just put real eggs underneath them one time. So they just like smack their hand on a real egg. There was this really great quote. All their stuff that they've been doing to promote it lately, their quote was like, "We were so astounded by VR because if you invite your friend over to play VR, you've got a person with a blindfold on and earplugs in just sitting in your room." And like, you should be fucking with them, right? Like, so we made a game that's all about fucking with people in VR goggles.
That's super fun.
Yeah, so Penn and Teller, they're just like the best magicians in the world. And if you ever want to go down a great YouTube rabbit hole, just search the words Penn and Teller, and you can just be entertained for as long as you need to be.
Perfect. My God. Okay, I have one.
Go for it.
Okay, so there has been a new movie trailer that came out on July 10th, I think. Or around that date.
Cats?
It's for the new... No! It's for the new Lupin III movie.
Oh, Anna told me about that, but I still don't know what it is.
I don't know a whole lot about Lupin III. It's, I think, an anime, manga anime series. It's fairly old-ish. Super classic looking, looks really fun, super stylized, really awesome, has a pretty big following. And the new trailer that just came out is a CG movie. Like it's 3D animated instead of the traditional like 2D because it's an anime,
Mm-hmm.
And it looks amazing. Like it looks so good, and it's like that 3D where it's still like very, very much like their old style. Like, it's super cartoony and all that stuff.
Right.
And it does not enter the Uncanny Valley at all. And it's so, like, it looks so good. The animation is, like, just absolutely breathtakingly pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so excited. And I also now really, really want to watch, like, all of the old Lupin stuff because I gotta know what's happening with this because it looks so good.
Yeah, I can't really weigh in on that. I can't really weigh in on that because I haven't seen it yet, but that sounds awesome, and I'll definitely check it out once we hang up.
It's so amazing. Anyway, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Adeline.
Okay,
It's the
I
11th
found a
hour.
thing that I want to talk about. Okay, so I play D&D. I play D&D a lot. I have characters. I like them, but it's
Fucking nerd.
yeah, I know, right? Fuck, but
I thought this podcast was called No Nerds Allowed.
Listen. But okay. So the coolest part about D&D is that the ability to make your own characters and create your whole own world, basically. But another part of D&D that kind of contradicts that is that you use tabletop miniatures.
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 Cinemanigma.
It's pronounced Synenigma.
Synenigmas.
Cinemanigma.
Cinemanigma.
Synenigma.
Yeah.
When you play D&D, you use miniatures in order to know where your characters are in the world that you've made and blah blah blah. But the problem with those miniatures is that there's only so many of them, and that there's certain races and certain classes and stuff, but there's just not a whole lot of variety. And so for me, example, having a tiefling that looks a very specific way, to find a tiefling that looks like that's in like the D&D official miniatures is basically impossible. So
Yeah.
for stuff like that, I use a site that's called Hero Forge. That's really, really, really cool. It's all free to use. The only thing that you pay for is if you actually decide to like buy the miniature, and they're not that expensive because you can just
Oh, that's good.
yeah, but they give you there's several things that you can buy. You can buy just like a plastic miniature that they make, and that's probably like $20. Or you can just buy the 3D model that you can use a 3D printer to print yourself, and that's only like $10, I think. I could look that up right now. But yeah, it's really cool. It's all free, it's all crowdsourced, so it's always getting updated. I'm constantly surprised about how much it gets updated. Like, I just opened it right now, and they have a whole new race of elephant people that you can now make a little miniature of if you wanted to.
Oh, whoa.
And, like, yeah, there's, like, tons and tons of options for races. They have stuff that's not super canon for Pathfinder or D&D or that kind of stuff. Like, there's a turtle person. Like, that's fun.
Do they have a squirrel?
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
I don't think they have a squirrel. They have... Nope, they do. They have rat folk.
Yeah, and well, no, that's not the same. It has to be a squirrel.
Oh, no, there's not a squirrel. I don't... Let me see if there's a squirrel tail.
Fuck them.
But...
Hero Forge sounds lame.
yeah, they don't have...
Doesn't have squirrels.
Oh, joke's on you, Jackson. It does have a squirrel tail, so you can go fuck
fuck yeah.
yourself.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, they have tons of options for like facial expressions, for poses, for outfits, for races, for haircuts. There's different poses. There's always getting new poses, and it's being updated like all the time to like an amount that I'm super impressed
Oh, that's
with.
dope.
Yeah. You can also there's like different. You can get it. The way that you can buy it is you can buy the downloadable like blueprint to be 3D printed, or they'll just make it out of plastic for you, or they'll make it out of like premium plastic, or if you really wanted to, you can buy them made out of like steel and bronze. So like
Right.
if you really
my
wanted to,
gosh.
you could get your D&D character bronzed forever. This little figure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. They also have a thing where you can make ornaments out of the figures. They just like put a little loop on it and it's an ornament.
Aw.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. It's super nice. It's not... I mean, the selection is always just a little bit limited just because it requires to create so many assets. But like I said, it's getting updated like all the time. Like every month I'll like check in and there'll be like something new that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
That is very
Yeah,
cool.
if you want to make your own little D&D character, or you just want to basically play a complicated dress-up game, it's called Hero Forge.
I am always down to play a complicated dress-up
dude.
game. Okay, those games are
Dress-up
fun.
games
I have no
are
shame.
so much fun. Like, that's my guilty pleasure. I will play dress-up games all day, every day.
They're fun.
Okay, I won't though. So
We'll die.
just putting
Well,
that out
you're-
there for
yeah,
everybody. I don't want to
just-
do that.
You're getting kicked
Yeah,
out.
get out.
You're getting kicked
This
out of the
is
club.
the dress-up game podcast.
Do you have any things you want to plug for yourself before we start wrapping up, Tabby?
I
Do you have like a Twitter
No.
or something? No? All right.
no, I have an Instagram. It's at Tabster Blaster. It's where I post my art. I'm an artist and an animator, and so that's where I like put things. I don't have like a YouTube channel yet, because that's where you put the animations and such. But we're getting there. It's in progress. But I do have an Instagram.
Great.
Cool.
So follow
you.
Tabi on Instagram. We are finally at a point where we've got our podcasts up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify now, as well as like a whole bunch of other stuff, like podcast services I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But we're on them. So if you've been listening to our podcast through YouTube, like a crazy person, you don't have to do that anymore. You can listen to a podcast like a regular person
Like
from
a
now
regular
on.
one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we have coming out. I'm working on a video about Spider-Man in my Marvel movie series that I'm
I
getting...
got a sneak peek of it.
Oh, did you really?
The beginning is very funny.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I get sneak peeks because Anna shows me sometimes.
All right, fair enough. And what else? Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Hey, do you guys want to hear a 5-star review of the movie we watched, Power Rangers?
Yeah, I do.
So this review comes from Emmanuel at letterboxd.com. He gives this movie 5 stars, and he says, "If you think Wonder Woman was better than this movie, then you're a dumb fucking moron."
He's right. You goddamn fucking moron. Oh my god! Wow, strong start. I'm already enjoying this.
God.
My name's Jackson McMurray,
My name's Adeline McMurray.
and this
My
has
name's
been...
Tabi Bardall. Oh no!
Go ahead, you can say you.
No, it's fine. I can just. I'll be here.
Okay, and this is No Nerds Allowed. See ya.
So sorry, Debbie. You have to get out.
Okay, bye. That was fun.
You did that to Ian too. You were just like, I'm Jackson, and I was like, I'm Adeline, and then you were like, and we're done. Nothing else. Goodbye. There's no one else here.